It was a hectic week of work after tons of busy days when Peter, Sarah, and I were sitting with exhausted faces together. And I asked them about their plans for the weekends, and are they up for a long drive on a highway? I told them about a famous cabin in the woods near the highway, which would be a lot of fun to explore. They immediately agreed upon that, and decided to take a weekend off of the continuous grind of work, and plan an adventurous highway road trip to a cabin in the woods. All three of us had been friends for a very long time, and we loved to go on adventures together. The moment we set off foot outside our houses for the long drive down the deserted highway, we did not have the slightest idea of what horrors awaited us there. The road stretched out before us like a dark and empty pathway to hell, and the only sound was the soft humming of the car's engine while driving, and it sounded kind of eerie at that moment. The occasional thuds and crackle of static on the radio were adding insult to injury by making it even more intense for us. Sarah peeked outside the window into the sky and started praising how beautiful the sky was. And while doing that, she expressed her imagination quite well. So I looked outside and just saw the moon, hidden behind a thick layer of clouds, making it difficult to see. It was scary to look at as well. As we drove, Peter noticed a strange figured entity at a distance standing in our way. He slowed the car down and leaned forward with his squinted eyes, trying to check out who is it, or if there anyone who needed any help. As we got closer and closer, we could see well-defined shape of that entity, which seemed to be a woman with long and tangled hair, a creepy body, and wearing a white dress. She was standing right in the middle of the road. Peter suggested that we should pull over as the woman might need help. But Sarah was hesitant right from the beginning. She was jokingly suggesting that the woman outside was a ghost. Even this joke shook all of us. Meanwhile, the woman was still standing in front of us. I tried to laugh the ghost joke off, but it was terrifying. Even while neglecting the ghost stuff, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Peter didn't even care whether it was a ghost or a monster and pulled up beside the woman, rolled the window down, and asked, "Hey lady, do you need any help?" The woman didn't respond. She just stood still and stared at us with her dark hollow eyes. Sarah got scared as well and told Peter to let that woman stand where she wanted to, and we should drive away as something didn't seem fine. Peter didn't drive and insisted that the woman needed some help and that we should help her. While we were arguing, we didn't notice that the woman had just disappeared into thin air. Peter put the car into gear and drove off, eventually shaking his head as if he still didn't care. None of us understood what just happened. We drove away, shaken by this strange encounter, but somehow we were convinced that it was just our exhaustion and imagination playing tricks on us. As we continued down the highway, we started noticing strange things happening around us. Like radio started playing static again, only this time it was even louder, and we could hear these strange whispers coming through the speakers, leaving us all terrified. The car's headlights were continuously flickering on and off, making it difficult for Peter to drive. Sarah started shivering. She pulled her jacket tighter around her neck. She said that she didn't like anything about this, and she could feel something strange around us. So, Sarah asked Peter if we could go back to our home and have this trip some other time. I still remember that she was shivering while saying this. Despite all of this, Peter and I reassured her that everything would be fine once we rested a bit, but we were beginning to feel uneasy ourselves by now. Just then, we saw a strange figure moving in the distance again, and ignored it completely this time. Till we got near it and saw it was the same woman in the white dress, and it was standing in the middle of the road again. Peter didn't slow down this time, but she wasn't disappearing. Instead, she started running towards us violently with her eyes fixed on the car. Peter hit the brakes, but unfortunately, it was too late. The car collided, and we all heard a loud thud and falling sound. We looked at each other with fear written all over our faces. Sarah was almost lying down in the back seat, covering herself with her jacket. Peter and I went out to check on her, but there was no sign of her or any collision. And there was no woman or animal around us. Since the rest house was nearby, we decided to keep driving. We were hoping to somehow put this strange encounter behind us, but haunting didn't stop. Now, we started hearing strange whispers and creepy laughter coming from the trunk of our car, even though it was empty. The car's windows were fogged up, making it difficult to see outside. We were completely exhausted and terrified by the time we arrived at the rest house. The peeled-off paint and creaky floorboards of the place made it evident that it was very old. We tried to speak to the owner of this place to find out about the hauntings happening to us. The owner was an elderly man, and he told us that this rest house and the nearby places had been built on top of an old burial ground, and the spirits of the dead are still restless here. This shook us all within a moment. The owner told us to leave, but it was too late already, so we insisted on staying, and the owner left before we could even see the room. As the night wore on, the haunting grew more intense. There was no one else in the rest house except for us. I tried to call for help, but unfortunately, my phone was dead. We were trapped inside that rest house. All three of us huddled together, trying to find comfort in each other's company, but the fear was too great to handle. We could feel something strange around us, as if that mysterious woman was still with us, and we knew that we were in grave danger. We started hearing footsteps in the hallway, even though no one was there. The doors started to creak by themselves, and the lights flickered on and off. We could hear the sound of chanting coming from the walls, and we felt cold hands brushing against our skin. As we heard these sounds, we peeked outside the window and saw the same disfigured woman standing outside. All of a sudden, the owner appeared at the door of our room and asked us to follow him to the small room at the back of the building. We went in it and locked the doors till the dawn. We waited there for the rest of the night, hearing mysterious screams, footsteps, and giggles from outside. As we say sunlight, we got out of that room and escaped the horrors of that place and that mysterious woman. As we drove away, we all were quiet and thankful that we had escaped those tormenting moments. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the cabin in the woods, but we experienced things that we cannot explain or understand. The woman in the white dress still haunts us in our dreams,